In the quiet town of Clinton, Michigan, nestled between stretches of farmland and shadowy woods, there's a little-known road called Hollow Bend. It's not marked on any modern map, and locals avoid it, especially after dusk. They say decades ago, there stood a schoolhouse near Hollow Bend. One stormy night in 1956, the school closed early due to heavy snow. All the children left, except one, a girl named Evelyn. No one knows why she stayed behind, but when the teacher returned the next morning, Evelyn was gone. Only her notebook was found, open to a page with a strange message scribbled over and over. The bell never rang. Since then, strange things have been whispered about Hollow Bend. Drivers report their radios suddenly going silent, headlights flickering, or seeing a small figure standing by the road's edge, holding a book. One autumn evening, a college student named Mason decided to investigate for a podcast. He parked near the old trailhead and walked down the path with a flashlight and recorder. The woods were unnaturally quiet. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of his boots on leaves. Then he heard it, a soft chime like an old school bell. But there was no school anymore, only trees. The air grew cold, his breath fogged, and the chime grew louder. He turned back, but the path was gone. Trees surrounded him in all directions. And from somewhere just behind, a whisper. The bell never rang. The recorder was later found by hikers near the trail. Mason was never seen again. Since then, the town put up a sign. Road closed, no access beyond this point. But at night, if you drive near Hollow Bend and roll down your window, you might hear the faint chime of a school bell and a whisper in the dark. In the heart of Michigan, just west of the River Raisin, lies a quiet village, Clinton. It's the kind of place where neighbors wave from porches, and the nights are still. But there's one place the locals won't talk about. A hidden road, lost in the woods, known only by a whispered name, Hollow Bend. It's not on any GPS. You won't find it on Google Maps. But ask someone who's lived in Clinton long enough, and they'll just say, don't go past the old orchard after dark. The story goes back to 1956. There was a small schoolhouse near Hollow Bend. One snowy afternoon, they let the kids go home early. But one little girl never left. The next morning, the teacher found her desk empty. But her notebook was still there. A single page, filled with one sentence, written over and over. The bell never rang. No one knows what happened to her. But ever since, strange things happen on that road. Drivers report their lights flickering. Radios turning to static. Some claim to see a girl by the road, holding a book. One podcast host, Mason Grant, went there to record his own investigation. He parked, walked in, left a voice recorder running. Walking down the trail now. No sounds. Feels off. Soft chime rings. Wait, was that a bell? Silence. Then a whisper. Barely audible, but chilling. The bell never rang. Mason was never found. Only his recorder. A week later, the town put up a sign. Road closed, do not enter. But if you ever find yourself near Clinton, and you hear a faint bell in the night air, don't stop. Don't look back. Because some bells were never meant to ring. In the quiet stretch between Clinton and Tecumseh, Michigan, there's an old trail that runs behind the trees lining the country road. It's not used much anymore, mostly forgotten by modern travelers. But the locals call it the Lantern Path. No one knows who first saw it, but they all describe the same thing. A dim lantern, floating in the dark woods. No footsteps, no figure, just light. Legend says the lantern belonged to a railway worker from the early 1900s. He worked on the hidden spur that once ran through those woods, guiding trains by lantern when the signals failed. One night, during a terrible storm, he went missing. All they found was his lantern, still glowing, hanging from a tree branch. Since then, strange sightings began. Couples walking at dusk would see the lantern appear and then vanish. Campers nearby would hear soft footsteps circling their tents, but find no prints. And once, a teenager dared to follow the light deeper into the woods. He returned, but changed. He wouldn't speak for days. When he finally did, he whispered, The light doesn't lead you out. It pulls you in. Years later, hikers claim they've seen the lantern swaying gently in the trees. If you watch it too long, it begins to drift closer. And if you try to follow it, you may not return the same. So if you're ever driving down Tecumseh Road at night and you see a flicker of light through the trees, don't stop. Don't look. And whatever you do, don't follow the lantern. Just a few miles north of Clinton lies Keegan Lake, a calm, glassy body of water surrounded by dense forest. The lake is beautiful during the day. Families fish, kids play on the shore. But at night, the forest seems too quiet. And some locals warn never to venture to the west side of the lake, because there's a house there. Or there was. No one can agree on when it was built. Some say it shows up only at certain times, when the moon is low and mist rolls off the water. But those who have seen it all say the same thing. It's small, gray, silent. But the windows glow from the inside. One hiker, Megan Palmer, saw it during an early morning jog. She blinked and it was gone. Later that night, she heard knocking on her back door. But no one was there. Only wet footprints, leading away from her house. Some believe the house is a leftover echo, a time imprint, caught in a loop from something terrible that happened long ago. There are whispered rumors of a woman who lived there alone, who vanished one winter after the lake froze over. Her name was never recorded, only her voice. On one strange night in 1992, a fisherman left a cassette recorder running while waiting for a bite. When he played it back, he didn't hear water. He heard a soft voice saying, "I didn't mean to let them in." After that, no one stayed past sunset on Keegan's western edge. Because they say if the mist gets thick enough, you'll see the house again. And if you walk toward it, you'll see your own reflection in the window. But it won't blink when you do. So if you ever camp near Keegan Lake and you hear soft knocking from the woods, stay inside. Don't go out. And whatever you do, don't follow the footprints. Just east of Clinton, beyond the line of maple trees and rusted fences, lies an abandoned grain facility. Among the skeletal remains of the barns and cracked cement slabs stands a tall, rust-covered silo known as Silo 9. It hasn't been used in over 40 years. But no one dares tear it down, because people say it listens. Workers in the 80s tried to dismantle it. The job was never finished. One man quit the same day he climbed inside. He said he heard his own voice coming from above, repeating things he hadn't said out loud. Farmers nearby tell strange stories. Tools go missing and are later found stacked neatly by the silo door. Lights flicker in the distance when no power runs to the place. And every once in a while a deep, low humming is heard just before dawn, like something mechanical breathing. In 2017, a group of amateur ghost hunters recorded an overnight session. They placed a mic at the center of Silo 9 and left it for 2 hours. The audio was corrupted except for the final 10 seconds. Please stop thinking. It echoes. They never returned. Now even thrill seekers avoid the area. Because Silo 9 is not empty. It remembers what you say. And sometimes it answers back. One local claims he left a message there once. Whispered it into the opening. The next morning, the same words were scratched onto the side of his barn. Backwards. So if you're ever exploring the countryside around Clinton and see a tall metal silo, standing alone, don't go in. Don't speak. And for your own safety, don't think too loudly. Not far from Clinton, hidden beyond a line of pine trees, there's an old iron bridge, its tracks long rusted, its timbers warped with time. Local kids call it Ghost Line Bridge. It hasn't seen a real train in decades. But every year, on the same night, something crosses it. The first reports came in the early 2000s. Campers near the bridge said they heard a train whistle after midnight. No tracks lead to the bridge anymore, just woods. Yet the sound would rise slowly, a distant rumble, steel against steel, a low, mournful horn, then silence. One man, a retired train engineer, claimed he saw something more. A faint light, like an old engine's lantern, gliding across the bridge in total silence. No steam, no wheels, just the light and the feeling of something passing through him. He never spoke about it again. Then, in 2019, a group of friends tried to film a video challenge there. They waited on the bridge, joking and laughing, until their camera began glitching. The screen went black. When it came back on, they were all still there, but the time code had jumped forward 3 hours. None of them remembered what happened. One of them later reported hearing the same horn in their dreams for 7 nights straight. And on the 7th night, they woke up at 3:03 a.m. with the sound of a passing train. But their house was nowhere near any tracks. Locals say the bridge was part of a line that never opened. It was built, but no trains ever ran. The company went bankrupt before launch. So the question remains, what's crossing that bridge? And if it's not a real train, then what happens if you stand on the tracks when it comes? So if you're walking the woods near Clinton and hear a horn that shouldn't be there, don't wait, don't look, and whatever you do, don't stand on the bridge after midnight.